Hi everyone, this is Xandralynn here, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I am very excited to be trying to finally do this voiceover. I've been putting it off for weeks because I've been so nervous, but I thought, okay, heck, I'm just gonna sit down and try to record this. So yeah. Anyways, I'm building on the Palomino Junction plot that came with the Sims 4 Horse Ranch, and this build was originally inspired by actually the default lot that was placed in this world. And the idea came to me while I was actually playing the game, as in like I kind of just made it in a go of the flow manner. The last time I played The Sims 4 was actually during the Horse Ranch pack. So this is kind of a remake of the house that my family was living in. So it has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. It's only a single story. The upper floor is completely decorative. There's nothing in there. There's no way to access it. It's just for um aesthetics or whatever. So yeah, and I think I thought to myself, I was like, why would my first YouTube video ever, why would I make it on a 50 by 50 when I know that this is going to take a lot of talking? But that's what I went with, so that's what we're doing. Yeah. Also, you'll notice when I'm working on this that I don't completely finish the outside of the build before I move on to the inside. I kind of prefer to just get the basics like on the outside done and then save decorating the outside until the end. That's how I've always done my builds. I don't know why. I think because I know the floor plan is going to stress me out and the furnishing is going to stress me out in not in a bad way, but yeah, so I guess I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself and my experience with The Sims 4. And I have an embarrassing number of hours in The Sims 4. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. It's so embarrassing, and probably the same embarrassing number of hours in all the Sims games. I played them growing up, and but I really love it. And yeah, so I own most of the packs. I don't own all of them. A few that I don't own right now, like the big ones, would be like For Rent and Love Struck. Love Struck because the build items didn't really appeal to me that much, and For Rent because I'm really worried about it corrupting my game because I've seen so many people like talking about that, and it would just devastate me if I lost everything. Oh, sorry, we just skipped to the inside here. I think I lost a little bit of footage, but yeah, I think I lost like multiple save files just because I don't know if the Sims like has cloud saving and I didn't upload my things to the gallery. I used to play on a laptop and it obviously didn't last forever. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of starting fresh with my building again, but I will say I really loved the items that came with Horse Ranch. I did a lot of Horse Ranch building, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. I really love the items. Like they're very rustic looking. The textures are great. They fit well with like a lot of other packs. And on the interior here, I just decided to go with like the log look because I thought it was pretty. It's something that I would like to live in. I actually grew up in Alberta, Canada. So I am Canadian. So yeah, next to the Rockies, and the log cabin look or log house look kind of reminds me of home. So yeah, that was one thing about me is that I'm Canadian. I also used to submit to the simsresource.com and I was a featured artist there for building. I was going through some things in my life at the time and I stopped submitting and they demoted me and didn't put me in the Hall of Fame, and I was kind of salty about that. It took me a while to get over that. Um, but anyways, yeah, moving up and onwards. Now I live in Eastern Canada, in Ontario, with my partner and my cat. And yeah, life is better now. Anyways, I was gonna tell you guys that because I was such a Sims 4 like player, like live mode player for so long, and then later became a builder, I tend to I think about when I'm building, like I want Sims to have things to do. I want it to be a place that I would want to play in. I wouldn't want to be in a house where there was no activities or skill building objects or anything like that. So there's a few things here and there in this house. I think one of the, not this room, this is just like the main living room. I don't know if I kept that game console because I just didn't think it looked good, but if you choose to download this build from the gallery, feel free to go back and put that back in there. It's just like another activity that your Sims can do. I guess one thing I'll say is that I usually build in medium wall height. And oh, well, there we go. I think I went back and forth a couple of times in this build, deciding what I wanted, and I ended up going with medium wall height. I typically do that because on short wall height, I find like sometimes things feel a little bit cramped, especially in the kitchen with the cabinets. And one thing I was just going to bring up, guys, is because this is my first time doing this, feel free to let me know if the audio is too loud or too quiet because I'm very inexperienced. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying it out. And same with the speed build. I wasn't sure how much to speed this up. I feel like I got it through like a pretty good pace. I sped it up more than I thought was necessary just because the build is so long. So I guess one thing I'll say about the way that I build, my builds take a really long time because I spend so much time decorating and cluttering and going back and forth and changing my mind. I cut out like quite a bit of like me messing around with objects and things like that. But I guess this build was a little bit easier for me. It wasn't like so indecisive because I already had an idea from the house that I lived in. Oh, and I had to add this Mary Maid milk thing because it's I assume that the people that live here have animals. So, yeah, and you can see that I really didn't know where to put it. I just kept going back and forth. Another thing that I was a little worried about with my building style, and I tried to like tone it down for the purposes of making a video, is that I really jump all over the place when I'm building. Like, it might not be so noticeable during a speed build, but I'll see an item and I'll be like, oh, this will look good in the other room, and oh, I'll never find this again. So I tend to like fly all over the place, but I tried to just do one room at a time. And like, I get so frustrated looking for items in this game. Like, I spend so long like browsing the catalog because I have no idea what the item I'm looking for is called. I never bother to like memorize the names. I just hope that I'll find it again. I wish I would memorize some of the names of the objects that I use regularly because it would save me a lot of heck. And yeah, so I never use like CC in my builds because one, you can't easily share them. And two, because there are just so many packs now and so many objects and so much good clutter. And we have the debug and like live edit cheats and whatever now. So I feel like there's like plenty of objects to use. But anyways, we moved on to the kitchen now, and yeah, of course I used a pink stove and a pink fridge because I feel like I wouldn't be me if I didn't. I'm really not afraid of using color in The Sims 4 as long as it looks good to my eye. I actually really enjoy it. I very rarely make how do you say, like beigey, white, black, like neutral tone houses. I always add like pops of color in everything I do because I really love it. And I think I have an okay eye for it. I am an artist in real life. I haven't turned it into like a thing that I make a living off of or anything, but I do a lot of like art in my own life, drawing, sketching, pencil crayon, digital art on iPad and so forth. And yeah, so with this kitchen, when I got to this point, is when I decided that I was going to use medium wall height because I just wanted room to clutter the walls with pots and pans and make sure that the window was visible and all that stuff. And yeah, I actually had a lot of fun with this kitchen. I like cluttering kitchens. My only complaint is that paper towel roll in the game doesn't come with another swatch, and I feel like every kitchen has a paper towel roll. So yeah. I just wanted to make this feel really cozy. I did put a bin. It's just outside the kitchen. It's kind of an awkward placement. I really wish in this game, like, bins could go underneath the sink, like in a normal house, or just like underneath a counter. That would help a lot. When I was playing the game, or when I did play the game, I usually just didn't even put an indoor bin. I would just get my Sims to take things directly outside, but for the purpose of sharing builds and stuff like that, I did put and will be putting indoor bins in the house because it is kind of annoying if you have to like your sim has to scrape off a plate and they have to walk like 2 miles to the outside garbage bin to do it. Yeah, and in my original house, I had like a knitted rug by my sim because she was into knitting. Like in the middle of the kitchen, it was purple and pink and looked really pretty, but I didn't go into debug to, oh god, there's that dreaded paper towel roll that I was talking about. Yeah, I didn't go into debug mode to find that rug. Also, I apologize for this light being in the way. I kind of just ignore it because I like to place down lights that I actually intend on using like ahead of time because I feel like they are part of the aesthetic of the house. So, and I also worry that if I place down a subtle saucer light so that it's like not in the way what I'm building, I'll just like forget that I have the subtle saucer light and that's not the final light that I want. Yeah, this little space was kind of awkward. Kind of just a corridor between parts of the house, but as in my typical fashion, I had to hardcore decorate this area, even though it'll probably rarely get used by any Sims. Yeah, so just trying to finish up this area. I think I placed a few pictures on, yeah, some wall objects. And here, I think I cut some of this out because this was an example of like, I found the oranges picture and then I couldn't find the apples. And it was driving me crazy because I knew that's what I wanted there. And they were literally like 2 rows apart. And I just couldn't see them. Like, I don't know. I don't know if anyone else experiences that when they're looking for something in the catalog. It's like your eyes are looking at it, but your brain's not like registering like the objects. And yeah, so I guess here I actually did use the subtle saucer lights in the bathroom. Oh, I'm just placing lights over here. Now, this is what I was talking about. Like I tend to fly all over the place, and I think I was just placing some basic furniture as I was like getting ready to move into other aspects of the house. And so that's the master bedroom that we're looking at here. I like how I was like in the bathroom and then in the living room, and now I'm in the master bedroom. So yeah, I guess that's what I decided I was gonna do next. I really love the color swatch of that bed. It's like a pretty sunset or something. I think it goes really well. But yeah, so this is the parents' room. I did give them a desk, like some end tables, like wardrobe, basic bedroom items. I layered these rugs because they looked better layered. And oh my god, my favorite little ottomans. These sheep are so cute. And I think the reason I had these sheeps in my build originally, like, was because of the mini goats and sheep that come with the horse ranch pack. And yeah, I had I had blue sheep, I had pink sheep, I had all the rainbow colors of sheep. I love the fact that they put such cute, like, whimsical little creatures in these funny colors that wouldn't exist in real life. So yeah, I had to add that little detail into the bedroom because it was sentimental of my time actually playing that game. So yeah. So yeah, I think I just continued to, yep, here I go again, just flying to the front room because I found some shoes that I'm never going to be able to find if I'm actually looking for them. That happens a lot. It's just a thing about how I build, so hopefully it's not too annoying or anything, but it's just honest. I think at some point I do place a knitting bag or something. When I played this playthrough with my Sims, and this was like somewhat of the house that they lived in, even though I'm remaking it now, but whatever. Yeah, I kind of tried to stay true to like the kinds of Sims that lived here. So this was, yeah, the parents' bedroom. There was a knitting bag and a lot of knitted objects around the house. I decided to go in a different direction with my female adult sim. Usually I have them be like a painter or an artist, and this time I didn't give them any like uh, visual, well, I don't know what to say, like not any painting skills or anything. I just decided to make them knit because I felt like all of my sims were the same, and the fact that all the girls were were artists because maybe that's just reminiscent of me in real life. And yeah, just some clutter objects like a yoga mat to make it look like uh you know, they were active. They live on a ranch, so I thought that was believable. And then just a little personal desk area. I think I spent like way too long like on just this one area. I couldn't decide like what kind of clutter I wanted on the desks, and the the item placement in this game sometimes drives me crazy, like the slots available on desks, and especially shelves. Like I almost always have to use move objects. Like you'll see me like dragging the desk back and forth just to be able to place things where I want to. And like shelves are like absolutely the worst. Like desks aren't as bad, but yeah, like anything that should be able to fit on a shelf doesn't, aside from like a few really small objects. And I don't know why they make it that way. Like what's the point of having a shelf if you can't put anything on it? So yeah, here I was just like adding a little bit of a frame to the bed. I spent probably like 10 minutes deciding what should go on this wall. I put some certificates just so there was like a little bit of a feeling that someone had a history here. And yeah, so then I was just decorating the walls. I really love these pictures from, oh God, was it Tiny Living? I don't know what it was, but those ones on the wall, they come with really good swatches. They're super versatile. Um, they're just like all around good art that can pretty much go in most builds for families. And then, yeah, we were moving on to the bathroom here, the master bathroom. This is only accessible from the bedroom. I stuck to the wood tone, and I think I placed a shower in the, yeah, toilet in that corner, shower, and I did use counters. So one thing I will say about placing bathrooms and counters is they are so annoying in the sense that Sims will be in the kitchen and there will be a free space to cook in the kitchen. And I'm sure everybody has experienced this, but the Sims will walk to the bathroom to cut their food. And I'm like, it just drives me nuts. So I tried to clutter the counters with things so that they wouldn't use them as cooking surfaces. Although when I was playtesting this house, I put like a giant candle or object in the middle of this counter, and my Sim still went to the bathroom and started chopping vegetables on top of the candle. And I'm like, I have no idea how to solve this. And it's really unfortunate that you can't like set counters as bathroom counters. And this reminds me of this story I was gonna tell while I was building this, and I was thinking about it. In my horse ranch playthrough, I built like a separate house at the back of the lot for like stayover guests. Like I think I was playing at the time that you could do like stayovers with growing together or something. And yeah, I had a little kitchenette in this tiny house across the lot. And my Sim would walk from the in-house kitchen all the way to the kitchenette at the other end of the lot to cook something, and I just don't understand like why proximity is not a thing. Like, but anyways, I ended up completely deleting the house because I was like, or that little house in the corner, and I just decided it doesn't get a kitchenette anymore because I couldn't deal with it. It was just driving me mental. Yeah, so funny story. I know all of us that have played the game have experienced this with counters, and like it's just too bad because counters look good in bathrooms, and I don't know. I just think the pathing or the AI sometimes needs a little bit of work in this game, but it is what it is. So here I'm going on to, I guess like it's kind of like a second family room. It doesn't have a TV. Like my idea behind this room was more of like a games room, like a family hangout room. So there is a games table, and I cluttered it a lot with like decorative board games. There's bookcases. I think I put a dollhouse in here, like just kind of like a second, like more like not kids oriented, but like family oriented room, like kind of just for the family, like not for entertaining guests or whatever. And yeah, I will say I really actually love the look of the orange couches in this room. I don't think in real life I would ever get an orange couch, but yeah, it's weird. I'm like watching this now and I'm like, I swear I did place like more clutter objects than like showed up when I placed the build down. So I'm gonna have to go back and like recheck because, oh, or maybe I didn't. I don't know what I did, but yeah, filling up these random little corners is like sometimes like a little bit confusing to know what to do. I always put like a firewood stack if I can ever find it next to the fireplace. And I don't know about you guys, but like one of the first things I do when my sim has like the handiness skill is like fire guard the fireplace, because I like to place rugs like close to it, and it scares the crap out of me, like the idea of my sims lighting themselves on fire with the fireplace. So yeah, that's just a little thing about me and my gameplay. I mean, it sounds like a little bit neurotic, but I don't really want my house burning down. And then, yeah, I also placed some musical instruments in this room just because in my game, one of my Sims had an interest in music, or was a music lover. And yeah, so there's a piano. I think I eventually add a guitar as well, like just for, family fun, like someone's playing the piano and the kids are at the dollhouse and so on. Oh yeah, and then this part, like I feel like I have a big problem when I'm building with like empty spaces. So I was trying to put a rug in front of that bookcase, and I ended up just like not keeping it. I was like, whatever, it's fine. Like it's okay if there's an empty area on the floor in front of the bookcase. But yeah, so now moving on to the girls' room. Originally, like when I was playing, I anticipated my Sims having 2 kids, and then they had 3. So they had 2 girls, and their names were Sapphire and Desiree. Yeah, that was their names. And yeah, so this is just making their room. One of them has the bunk bed, and the other one has the room in the corner. And then the other kid's room is for Brody, which was my child sim. And so yeah, the girls' room, I didn't want the kids' rooms to be like as brown as like the rest of the house. I wanted them to have like their own vibe and their own flair. So I tried to make this one like light and pastel-y and fun, because I just think that's what I would have liked to have as a kid. Like if I could go back, I kept some of the baby objects, like that thing hanging with the little ghosts or whatever, and yeah, just really cluttered it up. I don't do a lot of kids rooms. Like when I make builds that are not like for my own gameplay or yet, like I often make houses that have like a single bedroom for one sim. Like I play that way a lot, just like with one female sim. So I had fun with this. I really had fun. Like because I don't get to do kids rooms often, I really went crazy with like having fun with the decorations and the kid like furniture. And yeah, those string lights I placed. That's like one of the benefits, I think, like to me, of having like the medium wall height, is being able to place things like that. I had a hard time with that mirror. I didn't know which one to do. Oh, there's the little sheep again. And yeah, because I just wanted it to be like lighthearted and almost like fairy like. And I think, but also tie in some things from the horse ranch gameplay, like the sheep rug. Um, and yeah, I don't think I put a computer in here. I also couldn't find the stereo I was looking for, so I just went for that little circular one. I think it was like a glow tube or something like that. I don't know. It must have been like a reward from pre-ordering, because I swear I don't have this object that I'm thinking of in my game, even though I've seen it in people's builds on YouTube. So I don't know why I'm missing that one. But also, I will say that all of this is play tested. There are like a lot of objects on the ground and like surrounding the beds and everything, but Sims can access everything. I just think in like an actual kid's room there would be a lot of stuff all around the place. Oh, and some void critters, because my Sim Desiree, her and her brother Brody like to void critter battle, and that was their thing. And so I had to place like some of those decals on the wall. It took me a while to figure out what decorations to put on the wall here, because it's been so long since like I've done like a kid's bedroom, but I just tried to like make it look like something I thought my Sims would like. Oh, and even more string lights, or no, yeah. I always put that night light, because in live mode it looks really pretty. It has like a ray of light that goes up, and yeah, then just the unicorn, of course, because the unicorn is the best. Oh, and then here, yeah, so I was gonna place this horse, and I was like kind of like laughing while I was building that horse rug. I just felt like it looked like a dead horse on the floor, and I just couldn't deal with it. And I don't know, it was just like that moment, because I think I do put it in the other kid's bedroom. But I don't know, I just wanted to share that with you guys. it just looked weird to me. So anyways, yeah. Moving on to the bathroom. And yeah, it was kind of a Jack and Jill style or whatever you call it. Like you can share the sink and the mirror, and then there's an extra door that I assume you'd be able to lock for the tub and the shower and whatever. This is the only place in this house that I actually used the platform feature. It was about like I don't know when platforms came out, but it was a long time ago. And like when they did, I wasn't like actively like playing this game or building in this game, so like I kind of missed the memo. And then one day I just came back in and there was platforms, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" So I'm still not used to using them, but I think they're a really good addition to the game, and I think like in some of my builds going forward, I'll try to like use them more because I think they just make it like a lot more dynamic and realistic. And yeah, I cluttered up those counters in that bathroom, and thankfully my sim does not go and cook in there while I'm playtesting. And I don't know if it's just because they're like corner counters or whatever, but they didn't seem to want to use those counters for cooking. But yeah, so and then with the bathroom, I just tried to make it fun. I used the bathroom clutter kit and the decals or decals. I don't know how to pronounce it. I just call them decals, but yeah, like the little whale and all that stuff to make it look like a kid's bathroom. Like that's another fun thing about having kids sometimes is like just being able to do something different. Like if the bathroom is like specifically for the children, then maybe they drew on the walls or they put stickers up or something like that, and it wouldn't bug the parents because they wouldn't go in there anyway. And yeah, really like the platform tool for like the purposes of like putting a bathtub and like making use of a bigger space, because like if there wasn't a platform there, it would just kind of look like a hallway to the bathtub. And oh, I always use that rug from Parenthood, like for bathrooms and even for like front doormats. They just have like a lot of good patterns, and I love the little fish and stuff like that. Since I bought that bathroom clutter kit, I don't think I've done a kid's bathroom, so this was like the first time I actually got to use all these little stickers, and it was so fun. I wish this was my bathroom, I think, because I'm secretly 5 years old. Oh, and yeah, I think, yeah, here I place like a laundry bin. I didn't actually put laundry, like actual laundry day items in this house. Like there isn't a washer and a dryer just because like I've played, like this was like, as I said, like a build that I was remaking from a time that I played um the game last. And it's not that I don't like laundry, it's just that once I've, you've done it a couple of times, I just didn't like feel like doing laundry again in my game, so I just put like laundry decorations instead. I think like it depends like on the house layout, like whether I decide to put like laundry day stuff like the washing machine and stuff in it or not. But yeah, so this house does not actually have like active laundry in it, and yeah, just pretend laundry, I guess. And here I had to like jiggy around the windows just so that the window wasn't like cutting into the shower. And yeah, so now we're moving on to the male child Sims room. And I didn't want to go with like full wood, but I still wanted it to like look like it belonged in the house. I like debated like color scheme in this room for a while, and I think I just end up going with like gray, blue, red. And yeah, I guess I do keep like the warm desk and the warm. No, I don't. I don't know what I do. But yeah, I put some string lights in his room too, just because it's fun, Like if I was a kid, I would love to have those lights in my room. His room actually ends up being, I think it's actually bigger than the girls' room. I don't know. It wasn't on purpose. It just kind of like worked out that way, and I just thought like the sisters would like to share a room and have their brother in the other room. So yeah. And I did give him like a personal laptop. I don't know, it was just like because he was into video games and my game and stuff like that. The girls' desk I just left blank because I figured maybe they did their homework in there. Although like most of the time, like when I played, my Sims would just do their homework at like the kitchen table. Like it never really goes as you intend. Oh, and there's the horse. Like for some reason I didn't think that one looked like a dead horse, but I decided to keep that one because they still live on a ranch, and I'm actually excited to get to that part of the build because the inside does take a long time. Like there's just so many like little objects to place, and yeah, so same nightlight, baseball cap, just like some typical, I don't know, kids' room decorations. I think at some point I do place a bunch of Void Critter stuff. I didn't put like a Void Critter like play machine in this house. I figured like maybe kids would like go to an arcade to do that, but yeah, here I opened debug and placed a few My Sims trophies and like some Void Critter booster packs and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I just loved like Pokemon like game cards, so I was like really happy that they had like something similar to that for like kids gameplay um in this pack. And yeah, I think I had about 3/4 of the room done and then was just placing some lights, and then I was like, what should go here? I was like, oh, a bookcase. And then I think at some point, like I clicked some storage item. I'm just like, wait, there it is. Yeah. And then I paused there and I realized that I forgot to put a dresser in this kid's room. So I was like, oh, well, there, problem solved. Like a dresser goes in that corner. So yeah. And then I think I just like cluttered it up with some more like collectibles and things like that. I don't know about you guys, but like when I'm playing, I love to collect like little objects that are found in the world, or like anything that feels like it has like some kind of like sentimental value. Like uh I used to like when I in the early days that I played The Sims 4, I used to like really work on my collections. Like I'd actually open that tab and be like, what am I missing and what do I still have to find and stuff like that. So yeah, and I just think it adds like a touch of like gameplay realism to have a few debug objects here and there, although I don't always do it. And then here I was like, I just want a pile of folded clothes, and we really don't have in the game like any normal folded clothes. We have like bags of messy clothes on the floor, like hampers, things like that, but the only like folded t-shirts we have are like men's business t-shirts, and so that's what I ended up putting on his wall. And then here I was just decorating the yeah, with some chalk pictures. And yeah, there's the void critters. Here they come. Yep, there has to be void critters. I would totally decorate my room with void critters if I was a kid. Finally, onto the exterior of the house. Right now I'm working on a little shed of sorts. It's actually for nectar making because that was one of the key features of the Horse Ranch pack. It's nothing crazy. It's just a rectangle with a roof and a little porch, but it does have a cellar. And yeah, so I just made it a little smaller so that the terrain wasn't being wonky on the outside. But yeah, I do some of the decorating for the inside of the nectar shed, so to speak, off camera. Because I just like I think in my game I didn't fully like decorate it, and I was just getting a little bit stuck, like not knowing what to put in there. But I do put some like barrels, and obviously the nectar maker machine thing is right in the center. I think I put like some boots or shoes because Sims take off their shoes to make nectar. And I really like the cellar. I think I had heard that putting nectar in the basement like helped it age quicker. And I don't actually know if that's true. Like I haven't tested it both ways because this was the only Horse Ranch gameplay that I did, but I just decided to put it in the cellar because it kind of looked cool. And yeah, it's kind of a neat little space. So yeah, just putting some what do you call these, like barrels, casks, kegs, something like that. Yeah, and then going into the cellar, I tried to use a lot of like Horse Ranch like walls. I don't think they came with a stone floor. So yeah, I ended up using the vampire's floor. I think that dungeon-esque like stone like looks really good for rooms like this, or actually it's very versatile. I use it in like a lot of things. It's just like a very like the pattern, if you look at it, is like pretty uneven and like realistic looking. So yeah, just 6 nectar holder things that I don't know what to call, but yeah, and then just trying to find some like decoration items for here. I couldn't look up these like bottles. I don't think they're even called bottles, and like to me they look like wine bottles, but they're not called that in the game, obviously. So I had to do those because nectar to me is wine. But yeah, and then let's see. I think Yeah, I think that might have been where I stopped doing the interior, or did I? I don't know. Yeah, I really didn't know what to do. Like this shed in my game kind of became like a holding space for like random objects that I didn't have room to put in the house. But so anyways, I do that off camera. And then here I'm moving on to the horse stables. They don't have like a fancy barn or anything, and it's kind of like outdoors. Like I figure it's probably hot like all year, like on this lot, like seeing as it's kind of like a desert on top of a hill. So yeah, just some shelters, and I think I do like four of them with a gate. And I love the little hay rugs that we got because you can just make it look like the hay has been like scattered all over the place. This stable's design was actually kind of inspired by there was that one pre-built lot that came with Horse Ranch. I don't remember what it was called, but it's in like the bottom right hand corner of the world, and that was where I initially started my gameplay, and I just really liked this like little design, so I kind of like did something really similar for my horse stables. And yeah, so here I'm just trying to figure out how much space I need to have a greenhouse in the corner and make sure that there's enough space in the middle there for a play ball and the barrels. I was going to put a jumping course too, but I ended up not doing it just because it felt too cramped. And I think on the outside of this lot there might be like one that Sims can access with their horses, and it's not too far away. I think it's actually just at like the front of the build, so I just decided to do the barrels and the ball instead, and then obviously fill it up with some feeders. And yeah, this is all tested so horses can access the stables and the feeders. Then I think I started placing some debug objects. They had some really good like or live edit objects like these I don't know if you just saw that, but the wheel with like the cow skull or whatever I thought was really good, and the truck and the horse trailer, just decorative, but it filled up the space nicely. So and yeah, so this was all in my original build. I didn't put a greenhouse in my original build, so that's something new that well, actually I did, except it was at the front of the lot. And then when I was building this one, I decided to put it at the back of the lot because in my game I had like a llama or a cow in the back right corner of the lot, but I ended up like not keeping it. I didn't do like a whole lot of cottage living gameplay. So anyways, I decided to put a greenhouse because they have to have somewhere to grow their fruits or whatever they need to make nectar. And as I'm doing the outside here, you'll notice like I start putting a little bit of like plants and grass and things like that. Like decorating this lot with like foliage or like plants and bushes was like pretty difficult because uh well, just because of the terrain, like it's like mostly on sand, and I wanted the house and the lot to feel like it fit into the environment. Like that's something I often do. I like things to look like they blend in. I don't want it to be like super outlandish for the surrounding area. So there is like a lot of like dried grass, and then there is like a lot of like low lying shrubbery and like a few trees at the end and whatever. But yeah, so in here I'm just like working on a little simple deck area, just a barbecue. I think I put a dog toy thing. Yeah, I do, because I decided that maybe they have a dog and there was a spot for a feeder. So yeah, no dog bed, but has toys, has the couch, has the feeder. And yeah, then the two bins outside. And okay, I guess here, oh yeah, I completely forgot about this. I built this little shed for the mini goats and mini sheep, which I don't think like in my game they actually really used, but like that was the idea of making it, was just like if I wanted to keep them, like a couple of them like in one space, like I could put them in this area. I don't actually know to this day if they like actually use that bed. But another thing I did use this extra horse bed for was like when my two horses had like a baby. The baby was like having, I don't know why, it was just like being glitchy or something, but it had some problems in the other stables. So I made this extra one and it slept in there. But I also was debating putting a chicken coop in this area. I don't think I did it in this build, but like it totally works fine like in there. It's actually a good spot for chickens if you do want chickens in your build. And then here I'm just moving on to, oh yeah, I I had a little pond at the front of my house. I kind of wanted this little area to look like a little bit of like an oasis, surrounded by like big desert rocks. So I actually had a lot of fun with this. Like it was like the one area that I felt like I could get away with like having like some kind of water that doesn't make any sense, but like it blends into like those rocks in the background and things like that. And I'll have to like go back and check. I'm pretty sure your Sims can like wade in the water or stand in it or whatever. And like if you wanted to, you could add like a little fishing thing or whatever. But for me, it was just supposed to be like a decorative feature to fill up some space at the front of the lot. And yeah, so I didn't want to like overdo it with the foliage, but I figured if there was going to be any foliage on this lot, it would be surrounding like this water because the water would like seep into the ground and whatever. So I did put like a couple trees and bushes and grass, and I think I go out and like change like some of them, like just painted the terrain to make it look like a little bit more mucky or whatever. And yeah, I just think it looks really nice. Placed just like a few trees around the lot just to get an idea of like where I wanted the trees. And then here I started working on the greenhouse. And this greenhouse was completely different from like the one that I had on my original build. I was kind of just winging this. I did decide to use the platforms because so I guess I do use platforms in this build more than I thought I did, but yeah, I was just kind of winging it, seeing what it looked like. But I think like having platforms as steps up to a greenhouse looks really nice. And because the wall height was medium, it actually ended up working out like raising the platforms so that I could put these greenhouse haven kit windows all around. And yeah, I wanted it to blend into the rest of the build, like still be rustic. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do for the platform trim or for the floor here, but I think I really ended up liking what I did end up doing. I think I put some oh yeah, so there's the infamous vampire dungeon floor that I was talking about that I like so much. I think I do end up putting some wood um across the ground, and yeah, it's really simple. The greenhouse did have a few issues like in playtesting, so I had to move some things around. I think just because like a garden hose was on the wall, like some reason the plant was failing to germinate, quote unquote, or whatever, and then I just moved it and it was fine. So and yeah, so then just doing the glass roof, I think yeah, here I really wish that like glass roofs with an overhang like looked better than they do, but they don't. Like they just look really weird. So I always like shrink in like the sides and the front. And then was just placing some lights. I used a lot of stuff from the Greenhouse Haven kit. It's just a really good kit for like this kind of thing. And like with the seasons packs, like I almost always have like a greenhouse for my Sims. I really like to do gardening in this game. I think like it's a little bit overpowered when it comes to like how much money you can make from it or whatever, but it's fun. It's all in good fun. I think I put 3 big planters in case you wanted some trees, and then 4 small planters and some decorations. But I mean, if you wanted more space for more plants, just like rip out the decorations or whatever. And yeah, just cluttering it with some extra plants and objects. Like I think most of the objects that I put in here were just like plants from the decorations catalog or stuff from the greenhouse pack. And yeah, so I think I had to move some of these square planter boxes around because my sim couldn't access them from all sides, but I fixed it and it still looks good. So I guess that's what matters, right? I was gonna say I'm really surprised at how long I've been able to talk in this so far. I think I guess I'll just keep going until the end of the video, but I'm happy that my nerves have calmed down, and I hope you guys have been enjoying this. I've really been enjoying this so far. Hopefully no audio problems or video problems when I do upload this, but yeah, and then just on the outside of the greenhouse, I decided to not put any like actual like playable planters, but just like some things that maybe they're growing outside. I think I just put like 3 plants each, and like I tried to keep them I don't know, maybe a little bit deserty looking. And then I'm not sure if I'm going like actually onto the terrain painting at this point. I really love terrain painting in this game, but I typically like try to leave it till the end because I do like move things around like quite a bit. And yeah, so I was just figuring out, I was like definitely dirt, sand. I think I put some stones, forgot initially about outdoor lighting, and then it came back to me, which is good. Those lamps from Outdoor Retreat are very rustic and look really good with that. So, and then yeah, just some hay bales. They're actually supposed to be chairs, like from cottage living. So obviously your Sims won't be able to sit on those ones that are like stacked or whatever, but I doubt they'll try to. Oh yeah, and then so getting near the end of the build here, I guess. Doing some terrain painting. You'll notice that I'm using the square brush. Um, this is something I figured out a long time ago. Like if you want to make an organic looking path, it is like way easier to do it with the square brush. So that's just like a hot tip that that I would like to share. I almost always use the square brush for everything and just put the like the softness up, and then like even with the eraser, like going around corners of the path, like using the square brush is just like way easier. So yeah, just added this little path. And then I think I start like I didn't in my original build, like that space between the house and the stables, I didn't fill up with like anything, like because I had like toddlers at one point, so we had like a little like toddler slide and like ball pit and like kiddie pool and stuff like that. But in this build I really wanted to like finish that space, and I wasn't like totally sure what to do with it, but eventually I just found some like nice desert plants. And yeah, I don't think I keep that whole path going to the greenhouse, but anyways, I really like how this all turned out. I always add like dirt under like fence edges and under plants. I just think it gives it like good contrast and like a pop of realism. So, and then obviously the horse stables, I was going to put a lot of dirt in there because of, you know, horses and whatever. So, yeah, and then I think I was using a little bit of live edit from the horse ranch pack to start placing like foliage that would look like it blended into the surrounding world, and it actually ended up looking pretty good. I did place a few like hanging ivies. I deleted some of them because they were coming into the house. There's like still one that I kept because I just liked it so much that comes a little bit into the bedroom. I figured it was just like a decorative plant on the wall or whatever, but yeah, like just completely surrounding the house with bushes. And I always put grass underneath trees, and I don't know why. It's like it's not like it would like grow better like if it was in the shade all the time, but it just looks better, so that's why I do it. So yeah, and then a lot of like those like spiny like desert plants. I really love those ones, those plants that like look like they're crawling across the ground. They just look like it's just a good substitute for like just putting grass, is just to have like those reaching plants um around the house. So I put a lot of those and filled up this empty space. I assumed Sims would like water these plants and whatever if it was like real life, because it would be so dry out here. Anyways, I tried not to like completely overdo the foliage. Didn't want it to look like a jungle or anything, but yeah, and then just adding some last little bits to the outside of the nectar house. Some of those lanterns. I love that lantern from the cats and dogs pack. And I just figured like it's just like a cute idea, like just be walking around with a lantern at night, like going and checking on the horses and whatever. So that's why I put that. Yeah. And yeah, I think I just have a really big problem with like empty spaces, like which is probably why I typically don't do like huge lots. Like this one I did like as a remake, like I said, of like an old lot and just like decorated it further. But like I get really overwhelmed by these big lots because I am someone that just can't like deal with like any like thing left like untouched. Like even here, like I'm decorating around the garbage cans. Like that is so like probably not necessary, but I just feel like it makes it more fun to like play in and look at and whatever. So that's why I do it. And yeah, just add, I really like these rocks. They're not even debug. They came from the horse ranch kit. They were just like absolutely perfect for this lot in particular. And yeah, here we go again. I can't stop placing plants. It's a whole thing. But it looks really good in the end, and I hope you guys like it. I guess I left decorating the outside of the house until the very end, so I just placed like a few green leafy planters on the outside. I don't think I put anything like up the walls like ivy or anything. I just didn't really feel like that like suited the vibe, but Anyways, guys, I guess I'll leave this voiceover here, and because we're almost at the end of the video, and I appreciate you watching my first ever YouTube video. I hope you liked it. I have a couple more speed builds that I'm working on that I'm planning on sharing. So yeah, and I haven't figured out how to do music yet for this thing, so I don't have any. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.